Alright, in today's video we are going over the new exotic weapons and armors. So we've got 3 exotic armors, 2 exotic weapons that we can currently see. We might end up getting 6 exotic armors because they usually do add 2 for each class, so we get a total of 6. They're just not showing off them at the moment. They're just showing off one set of them, so 3 of them total. Hopefully we do get more because this is all we get that suck. I'm pretty sure we're getting more weapons as well because it'd be really dumb if we only get 2 weapons for a big DLC. Even if it's smaller compared to the other ones, it's still a bigger DLC, so. But we'll see. Anyways, let's get into it. So the first weapon we're looking at Skarrow9's video, by the way. I'm using his video. Hopefully he doesn't hate. I'm just picking a video to talk about it, because that's the only way I can do it. We'd see the Melissa Pamphilia, however you call that. This thing does look pretty cool. We will show the gameplay that he shows with it as well. But yeah, so anyways, let's get into it. Collecting a fire sprite or rapid solar final blows make you a Forge Master, allowing you to recall your throwing hammer. After impacting a target, recall your hammer at full intensity to perform a perfect recall, causing an explosion of forged slag. Perfect recalls and collecting fire sprites extends your time as a Forge Master. Okay, so low tier trash mod ads, will absolutely be obliterated by this. This thing is good for low and maybe mid-tier ad clearing and stuff, but I feel like anything in-game this will be kind of pointless in, because you don't really want to get that close in the first place, and if you do, you're probably going to die, more than likely. But is it cool? Is it useful for low-tier and mid-tier ad clearing? Yeah, 100%. This thing's actually pretty cool, pretty dope. I'd honestly think it'd be really fun to use as a whole. Depending on how the melee stat works exactly, or like how it combos with melees and stuff, I know there's an official percent and stuff, but actually Skarrow goes over that as well. So you should go watch that video from him too. But as a whole, I do know this. It does do pretty well. And it's an increase in damage if you get over 100 stats for the melee, so I don't remember the exact numbers, but it's a huge increase. So in theory, this could go really well on harder and stuff too. I don't know. We'll find out time it comes out. It does look cool either way. By far, also just looks dope as a whole as the exotic. It's also black armory. I don't know if people caught that, but that's the black armory symbol. I know it's just the top of it, so some people might argue that. But it's the only thing in the game that has this stuff to it, this bottom part right here and this top part, is the black armory symbols. So it could be just Bungie design coincidence. Obviously, it could be, but it makes me wonder if this is maybe just a black armory themed exotic. That'd be kind of cool. I don't know. Doesn't look like it, but it does say director, which I think the only thing I can think about a director is the black armory stuff. Ada talked to a director at one point, or wasn't a director talked down to her, or whatever, you know what I mean, like for information and shit at one point, so it might be, I don't know. Either way, it looks cool. I love the red and black combo. I love the colors with red and black together, so automatically makes me like it. Visually. And then the perk is really cool. It makes you literally Thor, so it's kind of a dope system. Fire sprites and rapid solar final blows are pretty easy to do in the game, even on harder end content if you run the right builds, so in theory this should be relatively, maybe not in the new hardest end stuff, but definitely the harder, like lower hard tier stuff should be able to still work, maybe in theory. We'll see. It does look cool though. Let's watch, see if he's got any gameplay. He does.
Sprites, solar weapons are pretty good in the game, so I'm not too worried about any of the activation here, but once you get Forge Master, you have it, and once you start throwing your hammer, I believe you have 12 seconds where you could just throw it, recall, and it just feels incredible to use. You can really just cool. Like lob your hammer across the world, hit things, call it back, and it will hit enemies on the way back, killing or damaging them.
Oh, okay.
You can also, if you notice, like sometimes I'll throw it and it'll jump up in the world, hit things,
sick.
Call it back,
yeah, he
and
missed
it will
on
hit
purpose.
enemies on the way back, killing or damaging them.
That's literally Thor's hammer.
You can also, if you notice, like sometimes I'll throw it and it'll jump up in the air and kind of like ring. It'll glow and make like an interesting noise. That's the perfect recall. So if you recall it at that point, that's when it does the extra fire slag attack and extends your Forge Master timer buff. This thing is just like freaking awesome.
Oh, he missed him. Damn,
it was a ton of fun to play with. And honestly, I'm going to be playing on Titan a lot more just because it's so much fun.
That is so cool.
I'm really excited for this.
Next, we can talk about... We definitely think that's pretty dope. It looks sick. Obviously, again, harder and stuff might not be that good for it, but it still looks dope either way, so...
The Hunter chestplate, the Morai. This has...
Alright, so we got the Morai. This thing looks cool, but we'll see if it actually is cool. It looks like those are snakes on the chest piece. Am I tripping? Are those cobras or some sort? Looks like cobras on the chest piece right there. That looks kind of dope. Alright. Pretty cool. Anyways, so we've got Web Catcher. As a perk, Threaded Spike can bounce to targets, or bounce to tangles, sorry, I'm dumb at reading. Detonating them and returning immediately. Tangles defeated by Threaded Spike are rewoven, sorry, and retrieved by it. Catches without a tangle refund extra melee energy. Interesting. So if you don't have a tangle, you refund it. That's kind of cool. Let's see what this does. So, it looks cool. Sounds interesting. Let's see what it actually does, though.
It will destroy them, and when the threaded spike comes back to you, you will then be holding a tangle as well, which you can throw or you can grapple to or whatever. But it's essentially just a way to have like insane.
Okay, that is sick. Okay, first off, that was a crazy ricochet. I've never seen a threaded spike go through so many enemies in my life. That was just nutty on its own. I don't know if there's a little buff in the background that doesn't say in the description, 'cause I think it makes threaded spike way better, because it don't track that many ads usually. That was such perfect tracking as a whole, so that was kind of crazy. So there's definitely some extra going on there. I guess nobody really noticed that, but there's some extra. So yeah, so it looks like it detonates the thing, which is insane.
To you, so you will then be holding a tangle as well, which you can throw or you can grab.
So yeah, it blew it up, which, okay, since it blew it up, if you use the whirlwind one that caused tangles to become those whirlwinds, the Beyblades as everyone calls them, that could be broken, because you get one too. Look, it blows it up and brings it to you. And it did blow up. It actually blew up, not like it just picked it up and brought it to you. It straight up blew up. So that means you could have two whirlwinds at the same time going very easily, as long as you catch your spike. That's kind of cool, because that's easy ad generation, and it will create another tangle, because obviously that's what it does when it does the whirlwind. It can create more tangles. So in theory, you could have a messed up amount of tangles going on at once. Like, you could bring out a ton of them. So that's kind of cool. I like that.
But it's essentially just a way to have like insane.
This could work on hard-end content very well, because it's pretty easy to create a tangle. So if you have a tangle, you throw it. You just, even if it's whirlwind, you create one whirlwind. But if you use your melee after you create one, it hits it, it causes a tangle to explode into whirlwind and brings you it. And the whirlwind's actually pretty good on harder and stuff, just because of that little extra ad clearing to help. So this thing could have a place in higher end content. At the same time, tether is really good, so it'd be a situation if you have two hunters, you could run one with this and one with tether. But at the same time, you can't use it on prismatic, so you could just use tether on prismatic too and still be good. So definitely a situation of interestingness. But you wouldn't have whirlwind, though. That's the only side effect, though, if you did use it on prismatic, so then it wouldn't be as good. So I kind of feel like, it's kind of pointless. This is definitely a Strand exclusive, without a doubt, in my opinion. But it is pretty cool either way.
Chaos with a bunch of Strand explosion abilities and stuff. It's pretty fun.
Okay, yeah, so there's definitely a buff to Threaded Spectre there. It's not saying it, but that tracking on it is so much better, and it's so much more fluid. So, there's definitely an extra buff going on there, and I'm surprised nobody talked about that or noticed that. I've used it enough in PvE to notice something is different. I don't know if it's just more enemies, or it just looks more fluid. It looks better. Maybe they just made it better. Maybe that's the update they'll do to it, and it's not the exotic, but I feel like it's the exotic. We'll see. So it is pretty cool.
Will also become a maelstrom. I did not get footage of this because honestly, I did not think about it. And then the one that you catch and then throw will also become a maelstrom.
See, he's thinking of the Beyblade thing. That's what he's talking about too. So he thought of it as well. He just didn't think about it until after. We're always late to the party, as they say. Poor guy. I know the feeling. All right, we're going to the Warlock now. The Warlock one looks hectic. What does this do? Enion? We'll see what it says.
I think that's how you're supposed to say it. I'm not. Now we're going to move on to the Warlock exotic. These are the Inoya? I think that's how you're supposed to say it. I'm not really sure. These buff your Hellions with the perk Consul's Pitch.
See,
Hellion projectiles.
That's a rough name, I won't lie. I'm with him there. Consul's Pitch. Helion projectiles deal increased damage the further they travel, eventually fracturing, English hard, into scorching shrapnel. Wow, I cannot speak today. My S's are destroying me. Holy cow. That looks cool. Okay, so in theory, that could be decent, I guess. I don't know. It really depends on the damage and stuff. Helion projectiles deal increased damage the further they travel. It also depends on how far they travel. Like, what's the cap? And we're talking about, like, 30 meters, 10 meters, 5 meters, 6 meters, 20 meters, you know what I mean? Like, what's the range, I wonder? Add an ad. Back to the progress at hand.
In higher-end content, if you already have, like, a Warlock on your team, and you need the other Warlocks to find a way to get damage.
Oh, they track. Okay, that's cool. So they actually track. You could actually tell,
like a Warlock on your team, and you need the other Warlocks to.
He shoots it. That's about, I'd say that's about 12 meters, give or take, a little bit.
Find a way to
And look, it splits, and watch these ones. These ones
get
actually
damage.
track. Look at that. It tracks to the ad. That's kind of cool. It doesn't say that, but those are tracking shrapnel. Scorching shrapnel. So that's kind of cool. Okay.
Ignitions and scorch damage and that sort of thing
Okay.
are a great way to do that. For example, just check out the Spire the Watcher speedrun that we all had to do for the movie The Week Emblem a couple weeks ago. So
Little bit of the
I
arc
think
play.
these are going to be very
Ball.
fun. They were really
little
good just to
hole.
run around
Oh,
with. I'm a
there
big
you go.
Hellion fan,
He got through the
and I
hole.
can't wait to see
Woo.
what people do with them. Now, there are also 2 weapon
Unfortunately, he didn't get any more footage with it. So that's a little bit of footage we got here. This does look cool. I wish you would have tested it out in the shooting range like you did the other ones, but it's all good. Obviously, they had limited time and they were doing what they could
Any
with
of
what
my
they had.
streams.
So, but it does look cool as a whole. It's literally splits into 4 pieces. Those 4 pieces track and they scorch, so that's kind of cool. It also makes the Helion look crazy. I don't know if that's the exotic making it look like that. I assume because it's getting a better version of itself, so that's what's making this look cool. Kind of looks like a starfish, but like a fire starfish. That's kind of cool. I like that. Personally, I think it's dope. Little change like that are pretty cool. All right, on to the weapons. Let's see.
that are not the raid exotic. So the first one is going to be
Yeah, obviously we don't know the raid exotic yet.
the 3rd iteration.
Okay, this thing, I've seen some footage on this thing. This thing is dope looking. It kind of reminds me of the Predator. If you know what I'm talking about, it's Predator versus Alien stuff, the Predator movies. Prey is the last TV or movie that came out. It was called Prey, but it's part of the Predator series. The Yuja. Or Yujita? Oh, God, I used to know it perfectly. Whatever, it's a race of aliens. They hunt humans. They hunt other races. It's just kind of what they do. It's literally hunters. They just go out and hunt stuff. There's different reasons for it and different lores for it, but they're just hunters, basically. They're really dope. I love the movie series and stuff. So as a whole, I've seen from the first one to the newest one. I love them all. Can't wait for the next one. Comes out in a couple days. We didn't know there's one coming out soon. You should definitely go check it out. It's on Hulu and Disney Plus, so kind of sucks there's a paywall, but at the same time it's dope as fuck looking, so you should definitely check it out. But this one kind of reminds me of it. So we've got Triplanar Mass Driver. Kind of makes me think of Lawrence Driver a little. Fires a spread of void energy projectiles, aiming down sights, narrows the spread. So it's also kind of like the Wyvern auto rifle, if you know, I forget what it's called at the moment, but it's literally the auto rifle that splits up when you hip fire and then aim down sights. It splits up tighter, but it still splits up. Or no, wait, when you aim down sights, I think it's a single shot, isn't it? I don't think it splits, actually. I stand corrected there, but I haven't used it much. I always forget. I haven't used it in a while. I have used it in the past, but not recently, so I forget. So it's kind of like that. It's basically a scout version of it, which is really cool. But as you see here, we got these 3 laser beams that kind of look like Vex eyes, but they got the lasers coming off it just like the Predator guns, so that's kind of cool. The U-Jaw guns. Kind of excited for that. Probably butchering that name, that's fine.
This
Let's
thing
continue.
was just complete.
Oh, okay, so that's different. Modified heat sink. Battery slowly recharges over time when the weapon is stowed or not being fired. Okay. So you can have the weapon out and it will just auto-charge slowly, recharge its ammo. So it's like a fusion slash scout mix? That's kind of cool. I like hybrid weapons when Bungie brings them out, so this is kind of cool. Alright. Press reload to vent the core, greatly increasing the speed of which the battery recharges. Makes sense, you know. Hit reload, it reloads right, obviously.
Completely broken when we played with it. I'm
Yeah.
quite certain Bungie's going.
This looks sick. Amalgamation rounds. Aiming down sights for a short period without firing compresses the spread into a single high density projectile. Damaging a target with this shot marks them. This weapon deals additional damage to marked targets, defeating a marked target, or landing a precision final blow with an amalgamation round. English. Grants invisibility and true sight. Okay, so if you mark a target, kill it, or precision kill something, you get invisibility and true sight. That is pretty cracked and a little broken. If that's in PvP, that might be a bit too broken, truthfully. 3s, I could definitely see this being a problem in potentially, depending on how good it is. If it's not that great, then it doesn't matter. But if it is pretty good, this could be a problem. Now, I doubt the marking will actually mark them in PvP. Bungie's done this enough times. I feel like now they'll probably make sure it doesn't mark them through walls. It'll just make them glow, so if you see them around a corner, or like when they come around the corner, you see them, they'll be glowing. Hopefully Bungie doesn't make that mistake they've made every single time they've added a tracking thing. I think Bungie's figured that one out now, so I think we'll be good on that take. It does look like it has a catalyst slot, but it says weapon mods. Are Exotic's about to get weapon mods and we don't know about? I doubt it, right? This has got to be a catalyst slot, so I'm excited to see. Probably just gives it volatile when you're invis, or when you have true sight or something, it'll get volatile, which you could easily mix with a hunter build and build something monstrous. So I'm very intrigued by seeing what this is. I'm pretty sure they'll also make it where you can't just go to a hunter and go invis and gain true sight from this automatically, because it does say it needs to be a final blow within uh amalgamation. I mess it up every time, make it worse every time, don't I? Dumb Viper. Anyways, that round you have to get it to get true sight. So I doubt you're gonna be able to just go invis and get it for free. True sight. I hope Bungie thought of that. At the same time, it could end up being a bug that comes out. Who knows? We'll see.
Going to nerf it before launch, but it is essentially the Predator scout rifle, like from the Predator movie. So it has an intrinsic trait, triplanar mass driver, fires a spread of void energy projectiles, aiming down the sight narrows the spread. So essentially it's like a kind of a shotgun scout rifle at base. But then you also have the next perk called amalgamation rounds. Aiming down sights for a short period of time without firing compresses the spread into a single high density projectile, damaging.
Obviously, we've already read this, so we're gonna skip it a little bit. See if he shows gameplay. Let's see some gameplay.
If you're just like firing it from the hip or firing it right after ADSing, it's more like a shotgun. If you wait a second, it's a sniper rifle. And when you kill things with the sniper rifle,
that is like a little. It's like a little shotgun, a scout shotgun. That's adorable. I like that. I like that. That's kind of cool. Fast fire rate too, so that's not bad.
You go invisible and can see enemies through walls. It's like pretty broken. That sniper rifle shot is very powerful. Like super powerful. I'm pretty sure they are going to nerf it,
really quick
because it was just like
that's not bad.
That
effect happens really quick.
But it was a ton of fun to use, and I cannot wait to see this thing in the main game. And that's coming from a guy.
Okay, so I'm really hoping, because we're seeing this, so that means we're going to get a Predator and Alien thing, since Sony owns them now, and Sony does a lot of stuff with Disney and stuff, and that sort of stuff, including games and stuff. I'm hoping, since we got Star Wars stuff, maybe, just maybe, we might get some Alien versus Predator stuff. Might have a crossover with the Alien tech. I mean, I don't know if we'll get skins like we did in Fortnite, like Alien skins and Predator skins, but we might get some armor or some ornaments or some sort of shader or something, or even weapon ornaments, stuff like that. A ship, maybe, like a, that'd be kind of cool. So we might get a, at the same time, the fact they added a weapon, and this weapon is very obvious what it is. I mean, it looks exactly like, it's set up exactly like these weapons are. Obviously, it's not the same. Like, you know, those are plasma bolts and stuff that they shoot in the movies and stuff, in the comics, and all that. But it's very, very similar to how it works with the little lasers and stuff. There's a lot on it that very obviously states what it is. So I feel like there might be a little bit of copyright thing there. I don't think so, because it's not the same type of weapon. It is similar aspects of it. Like the invis stuff comes from the same idealism from them. Obviously, they just go invis in the movies, but this the ideal for it. But I feel like because we did get something that's, you know, related to it, maybe that means, you know, Sony might be doing a crossover of this stuff too, which would be kind of cool. I'm not sure, but it looks dope. I really like it, so let's continue what you say.
Who like hates scout rifles? I am not a fan of scout rifles.
I hate scouts too.
This thing felt
Scouts
amazing.
are so trash.
Then
they're so pointless. Scouts are the worst thing in PvE, but this thing actually might make them work for shit. Mind you, it's literally a shotgun. It's a scout rifle. It's a shotgun at hip fire and aim down sights if you're quick. But heck it, right? It's shooting 3 shots at once. It reminds me so much of the Predator stuff, so I love it. I don't care either way. It looks dope. I'm excited to use this. I don't know if it's going to be good at PvP or not, but who cares? It looks amazing. Alright, next.
We have one other exotic that we can talk about. Cool That's going to be the Graviton Spike Hand Cannon. This one.
Okay, this thing is a flippin' monster looks. It just looks like a monster. It literally looks like a hand cannon from the back, and the front looks like some crazy railgun or something. I don't know what's going on with it, but it looks sick. So first, let's read its perk. Temporal Manipulation 4. Press to swap between fast-firing arc mode or slow-firing stasis mode. Final blows and precision hits overcharge the opposing mode to enable additional effects. Okay, sounds cool.
One is really interesting because it has 2 fires around the 120 RPM range.
Wait, hold up.
Mode, and then a.
Wait. He says something here.
One is really interesting because it has 2 firing modes, a 150 RPM arc fire mode, and then a stasis mode that fires more slowly. I think it's probably around the 120 RPM range.
Alright, another ad, so we had to pause a second. Anyways, So it's a 150, which is the second 150 ever to exist for exotics. Obviously, 150s were a hand cannon back in the day. Do not get me wrong. Before 140s became 140s, they were 150s. I know this. But since they changed that, this is the only other 150 in the game. Other than Sunshot, they're both 150s, so it's kind of cool. Personally, the 150s feel a bit weird. Sunshot feels a bit weird. They did fix it a bit, but we'll see. This thing looks sick either way. So basically, 150 arc and then a 120 stasis, which is insane. So it's 2 in 1. It's kind of interesting to think about. I'm very excited to see that. We've got Temporal Anomaly. While overcharged, each mode expends a portion of overcharge for additional effects on final blows or precision hits. Arc mode calls down lightning strikes. Stasis mode creates an explosion and a formation of stasis crystals. Okay, so we saw this in the trailer for Edge of Fate, and this thing looks sick, and I was very excited for this, and we now get to see its perks, which also make me very excited. This thing just looks dope. I mean, look at this thing. It's literally a normal hand cannon in the back, and then like a railgun in the front. It's so crazy looking. Let's see.
Is you can dark mode and get a kill. It'll do like a buzz buffed. So if I get a bunch, what's really interesting.
Alright, so that's all the perks then. Those are the 2 perks. But it's sick either way. There's another slot here. It could be for a catalyst. It could be not. I mean, this is Bungie. They may or may not add a catalyst for them. They could just be having that slot for the testing. Like, these are tested stuff, so they might not be what the official things look like. Things can change. We all know this. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. It looks sick either way. I do want to see what that perk was.
150 RPM arc 5
Oh, didn't mean to make a big screen. It glitched out when it's big screen.
mode. And then
oh my god, it hates me. It's fine. Temporal alignment refit. Overcharging both arc and stasis modes grants a period of increased damage. Holy cow. Alright, so if you overcharge both, you get an increased damage. So that's the other perk. Temporal alignment. That's kind of crazy. So, that could be useful since it's a 120. In PvP, if you happen to get them both charged in PvP, in theory, you might be able to get a 1-tap someone into stasis one. Or not 1-tap, sorry, 2-tap. 2-head, maybe. That's kind of cool, potentially. We'll see. It looks dope either way. I love this thing. So we're going to see some gameplay now. Let's see.
Over to the arc mode and get a kill. It'll do like a bolt charge thing where everything will be hit by lightning. And then if you get a bunch of kills with the arc version and switch over to the stasis, then the stasis version will make like headstone explosions that also like cold snap
Oh
grenades.
yeah, so that's the other thing it's doing. It's so if you use the stasis mode and get kills, it charges the arc one. You use the arc one to get kills, it charges the stasis one, which is really weird, but also kind of cool. So I actually like that. It's kind of a unique system. Not bad, not bad.
And freeze other things. It's pretty powerful. It's not really my favorite exotic. I probably won't use it too much, but I can see it fitting into a lot of builds that either, you know, utilize arc or stasis in a really interesting way.
Yep.
And I
Look at
think
the
it
arc
might
one.
be
That
alright
arc
in
one looks
Crucible
sick.
too, just based
I
off
like
of
why
all
the
the
stasis
perks.
is so
But I
massive, but
didn't
the
get
arc
to use
one's
it in
so
Crucible,
tiny.
so I'm not really
It's so
sure.
funny.
It's also worth noting that this is a
It's so
craftable
creepy.
exotic, so there's a couple of perks you can get.
Shit. It's craftable. Okay, I didn't see that. Hold
That
up.
second exotic perk slot, you can get
Get range.
rapid hit, you can get subsistence, you can get a new perk called
Oh wow. Okay, so rapid subsistence would be cracked on it for PvE, dude. Even PvP, that'd still be cracked. Could you just constantly reload it? Just you don't have to reload it. Rapid hit's obviously really good too. If its stability's really rough, then rapid hit would be good, but it really depends. This new perk, Transcendent Zen Refit. Final blows grant bonus stats based on the weapon's damage type alignment. Light elements grant stability and handling. Dark elements grant range and aim assist. While Transcendent, this weapon gets both bonuses. Wow. Okay. Okay, that's crazy. Increase stability and handling, range and aim assist if you're Transcendent. That is correct for PvE and PvP. That's just correct for stats. What the fuck? And obviously this is the other perk we just read out. So, alright, so this is not a normal perk. This is a perk you have to add. These are catalysts, I'm guessing. These are what the... No, see, that doesn't make sense, though, because there's a catalyst slot at the bottom. So these are just extra perks you can add on it, then. This ain't even a catalyst. That's sick. Okay.
Zen Refit. Final blows grant bonus stats based on the weapon, so that's pretty cool. And then you, which is called this thing. Like I said, not my personal favorite.
It's craftable, which makes me happy.
But I'm interested to see what
I'd
people
love to
do
put a
with it.
god roll on this.
But yeah, an insane suite of exotics coming with this.
Obviously, we probably should have more than just 2 because it is a DLC. So if we only have 2, that's get like a season, and that'd be dumb on their part. Because obviously there's the raid one too, but that it's a raid one. So I assume there'll probably be several exotic quest lines. We're probably looking at around 4 exotics, maybe should be 4, maybe 5. And then the raid one, which will be the 5th or 6th one. If it's only 2 exotics, that'd be bad. I assume by the looks of these are not these are actual Fate exotics, not the seasonal exotics that come out with the season pass. Whatever the exotic will be, I don't think these are going to be on that. So at least they shouldn't be since they're showing them off. At the same time, that Vex one looked out of place compared to the rest of them. So does the other one though. The hand cannon does too. So I don't know. Either way, they look sick. I'm very excited for these. We should be getting around 4 exotics though, with the DLC itself, then the season pass one, then the raid one. So a total of 5 to 6 right there should be what we're getting. And then obviously there's the extra secret exotic mission if they do that with the season stuff still, then you're looking at 6 to 7 exotics. I know it seems like a lot of exotics, but it is a big DLC even if they are smaller, so they should be bringing that out. Or at least 3 because it's not as big as the previous one, so I guess at least 3 exotics. It's only 2 exotics plus the raid one, plus that's 4 exotics. That's a bad number in my opinion. Plus the secret one that makes 5. That's a really bad number when 2 of them are part of a season thing that's separate completely from the actual DLC. And the seasonal stuff's now free, so those are 2 free exotics, and we're only getting 2 paid exotics plus the raid one. That's 3 exotics total. That's not a good number, even if it is smaller. If it was 4 total including the raid, then it'd be more okay. It still wouldn't be that great, but it'd be more okay because it's 1 more than what you get for free. I know the raid one would technically make it 1 more, but that's not exactly how that would work because the raid is a separate activity, whereas Edge of Fate, even though they might come from different activities, that's like an actual circle of things, if that makes sense. All that's connected, where the raid is connected too, but it's a separate thing. They always advertise as separate, if that makes sense. I might be explaining that bad, but basically that's how I've always looked at it. And even Bungie's been consistent in giving us a few exotics, so if we're only getting 2, I feel like a lot of people are going to be upset about that. We'll see. We should be getting another set of exotic armor and another set of weapons. At least 1 more weapon of exotic that we haven't seen other than the raid one. So 2 total. We'll see though. Either way, these do look sick. Either way, I am very excited for them. I'm still sad there's no abilities or fragments or anything nearly. They're nerfing Prismatic a bit. They're adjusting it actually. It's not really a nerf, it's an adjustment. So, but yeah. But either way, these do look cool. Not sure exactly how practical they'll be in the actual game, obviously, until we get in there and try them out in low tier and high tier stuff. But I'm very excited. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like, subscribe, leave a comment what you think. Thank you to Skarrow, getting the video and stuff. I know a whole bunch of YouTubers got to go and stuff, but hopefully he doesn't mind I'm using his video. It literally is the first guy I saw go up notified, and I personally like Skarrow's stuff. He does a lot of tutorials and stuff and helps people find stuff, so I personally like people to do that. So, yeah. So I appreciate it. If he ends up hating that I did this, I'll take the video down. No, I get it. Some people don't like when people react to their stuff and things, but I don't think that'd be the case here. I think there's such a few amount of people who got to go see this and do this. I feel like all of them as a whole wouldn't mind if you use their stuff. So hopefully it's no hate. Either way, I'm just putting that in there to make sure it's clarified. This is his stuff. This is his content. I'm just reacting to it and talking about it on my opinions and stuff. So all the credit goes to Skarrow. If you want to watch the full video all the way through with no skips, make sure you go check him out. Anyways, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, like, subscribe, comment what you think. We out. Adios.